Good morning, everyone. This is the final day of the Roadmap to Millions live. I just want to go over what we've already covered, just as a refresher, because we brought a lot of the wealth equation together over the last couple of days, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Remember to put down in the comments whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay. That helps us see what our audience is doing, and I appreciate that feedback. Anyway, without any further ado, I'm just going to recap what value and leverage is in the wealth equation. So to create wealth, we need to create value, and then we need to leverage that value. It's a dance of those two things that need to be done equally. So when you create value, you need to look at how you're going to leverage that value straight away. And then you create more value, and then you leverage that value. And you create more value, and you leverage that value. And that value could be offers. So, you could have several offers, but you have to leverage each offer separately. Okay, that's what I'm sort of talking about there. So value in a business sense is what we create to exchange for income. That's what value is. And the more value we create, the more income we can generate. So if it is really valuable to a person, they're quite willing to exchange their dollars for that value that you're giving them. If they can't see the value in what you're giving them, they won't buy. It's that simple. It is that simple. Okay. So there are three types of value we talked about. We talked about your personal value, retail value, and wholesale value. So your personal value are the values that you've got total control over. It's your passions, your talents, your network, your knowledge, your character, and your purpose. And they're all things that you can evolve over time. You can increase that value over time. And as I said, you're in total control of that value. Okay. Your retail value are the things that will meet a need, something people need and therefore pay for it, like groceries. That's a need. Everyone needs groceries. Everyone needs pharmaceuticals. There's lots of needs, and people will pay for it. Usually that's lower profits, but more turnover. Okay. And then retail value, which are the wants. So things that people want. That could be, brands, for example. Your Gucci's, your Yves Saint Laurent, your Louis Vuitton. Okay, people are willing to exchange their funds because they want those brands, because it's a status symbol and it means success to a lot of people. Okay, so they want to look like they're successful even if they're not, and get into debt even if they're not. So a lot of the wants are where people will put it on the credit card. Okay, and professional development, coaching, all of those things sometimes come under those wants, that want group. So if you're in that want group, you've got to make sure that you're very clear about the outcomes that are going to happen as a result of people getting those wants in their life. Okay. And then we've got wholesale value, which is the value of components. So that's where you're getting more into the multiplying area of, like, almost leverage at that point. Okay, so you are making sure, like Bill Gates did, that he had a chip that had to belong in every computer. So he wasn't actually making the money directly from the customer. He was making money from the manufacturer. Does that make sense? So that's component value. And then investment value are all those things we do with stocks and property, and the different ways that we can create wealth through assets. So they're asset acquisition, actually. Okay, that's investment value. And entrepreneurs mainly play in the wholesale value space. Mostly. Not all the time, mostly. Okay. All right. So then there's 4 levels of value. We talked about that as well. We talked about the implementation level being the lowest form of value. So that's usually when you have a job and you're exchanging your expertise and your time for money. Unification, which is where you move into management. So you're unifying the group, if you like, into a common goal, common vision. And so you get paid more at that level. And then you've got communication level. So that's where we have our influencers, the movie makers, the actors, singers, dancers, all of the entertainers, if you like, that use communication. It's where speakers and those sorts of things start to happen. And when we're in that space, you can create more money, and it's no longer time-based. It's not about your time. It's about the masses loving what you do and paying for that, okay? And then finally, imagination, which are people like Elon Musk, Walt Disney, even Sir Richard Branson. They're all in that space, okay? They have created something and made their wealth in the billions. That's normally the imagination. Everyone's got imagination, but we're talking about the imagination level of value, all right? So that's the kind of the pathway to where we go. And most of us start at implementation value. Most of us start in a job, all right? But then we look at our personal values and we improve them along our journey. So we improve our expertise, and then we're noticed, and we're then managing a group of people or supervising a group of people is the first step, right? And in my case, I supervised people, I managed people, I went up to executive level, I was earning quite good money, but then I decided to start my own college, utilising all the talents I developed all along the way, and that put me into that communication level then, because it was one to the many. I was earning my own money, and I kept growing, and that's brought me in multi-millions of dollars in the last 20 odd years that I've been in business, right? It brings me multi-millions of dollars every year. So that's how value can then be leveraged, all right? And so leverage, remember, you can always leverage where you lack an ability. You can always get someone in to help you. You can always find the people and put them around you to fill in the blanks where your natural talents and strengths don't lie, okay, for example. And remember, the less leveraged you are, the poorer you are. That's kind of how it works. And wealth's created through the speed of leverage. So the faster you can leverage everything, the faster you get to your wealth, okay? There are 2 ways to leverage value. One is through magnifying, which means it's through marketing activities, sales activities, networking, promoting, all of those activities that magnify, and usually involves people. Usually people have to do whatever that magnifying activity is for you. Although now, I suppose we've got a bit of AI that can make that faster as well. So get on board with AI, because if you don't, you're going to be left behind. It's really important to start using those tools now, because a lot of other competitors are using them, which means they get to market faster, they get to leverage faster, right? And then the other way that we can leverage is to multiply. And so that's through our systems. And that just means getting out to many people and more sales through the systems that you use. It also means you can make money in your sleep. Systems allow you to make money while you sleep. All right, just remember that. So today, that brings us to today and what I'm going to talk about today. A lot of what I'm talking about today comes from Myron Golden again, and all what I'm talking about is available in his YouTube channel, which is all publicly available. So I encourage you to go and watch his teachings, his principles, because they are spot on, and other people talk about these principles in different ways. There's a whole lot of people that I've studied over the years, and you can too. I mean, Jack Canfield was one of the ones I studied for the success principles, and then I'm pointing to behind because I actually wrote a book with him, which I love, which was called Mastering the Art of Success, which I co-authored with him, which was he was one of my first mentors. So it was so great to actually write a book with him. It was like a big deal in my evolution when I did that. But what I'm saying is there are a lot of gurus out there, especially on YouTube, who you can actually learn from, and you don't have to pay a fortune to do that learning. But the thing is, you've got to apply that learning. It's no good getting all this knowledge and gaining all this knowledge and putting it in the knowledge bank unless you use it. Okay, the key is to action it. Okay, so that's what I'm really going to talk about today. So I'm talking about what holds entrepreneurs back, what keeps entrepreneurs stuck, okay, and how we can fix it. Why do some get to one level of business and others, get to the communication level that we spoke about before, or the imagination level that we spoke about before? Why is that? Well, it's predominantly to do with two things that keep them entrepreneurs stuck. One is doubt, right? Doubt. And one is mastery. Mastering how to do business. Most people have already mastered their expertise in their own field, and that's why they've gone into business. If they've created the business themselves, if you've bought a business, that's a different kettle of fish altogether. I'm talking about the ones that have developed their own business from the knowledge and experiences that they've gained, so they can then sell that knowledge and experience, right? I'm talking about those people. So it's doubt and it's mastery, and a lot of people are happy to go on the journey and increase their field area, their expertise in their field area, but they're not so happy to increase their expertise in how to run a business successfully and profitably and sustainably. They don't see it as important. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that a bit today. So first of all, let's look at doubt. Shows up in an entrepreneur as a feeling of anxiety. Okay, which are the side effects of that anxiety. It's not fear, it's anxiety. We'll talk about fear later. And the side effects of that anxiety can be procrastination, feeling stuck, being disengaged, being totally de-energized and not want to get on with it, not want to be in your business. That can happen. Being totally burnt out because you've done so much work and tried to get to whatever, the next level, the next thing, the next whatever, and you feel burnt out. Self-sabotage is a huge one for entrepreneurs. Telling yourself, oh, why are you doing this? No one's going to buy it. What makes you the expert? What makes you think you're so good? We've all had that self-talk at some stage, right? Being afraid of failure or being afraid of success. Yes, believe it or not, some people will self-sabotage themselves because they're afraid of what their life might look like if they're successful. Because with success comes responsibility, and some people do not want that responsibility, okay? Lack of discipline. That's one of mine that holds me back, particularly now that I've made it. I've got a successful business. I find that my self-discipline is no longer there. It used to be, but it's very hard to get myself disciplined in order to do the things that I know that I've got to do in order to get my new business to where it needs to go. Okay, that is a real thing for me that I'm struggling with. Totally open. I'm struggling with that right now. I'm addressing it, but it keeps creeping in, right? Ultimately, the doubt and the feeling of anxiety leaves you paralyzed in some way, shape or form. It's paralysis. Okay, that's what keeps us stuck. Okay, so doubt is a focus in my heart that creates a feeling in my heart called anxiety. And this is where we get anxiety attacks from. This is exactly where they come from. Okay, so doubt is a belief in the outcome that I don't desire. That's what it is. Doubt is a belief in the outcome I don't desire. And anxiety is the thief of dreams. I love that. And Myron Golden said that. Anxiety is the thief of our dreams. All right? So we don't want to get into this space, and I'll give you some tips about how we can stay out of it in a moment. Anxiety robs us of our present energy and being in present time, and causes us to produce the outcome that we don't desire in the future. That's why worrying about something actually makes it happen. So the law of attraction is a very real thing and a very powerful thing, and lots of people have written about the law of attraction. I guess the one that I really love the most is Esther Hicks. I love her work, and the book The Law of Attraction is a fantastic book if you want to have a look at that, because we can create positive things and we can create negative things. It's entirely up to us and what we focus on. It's about focus. So whatever we focus on, we create. And I can attest to that. I've seen that in my life over and over and over and over again. Okay. I can remember in the early days of my college, when I first started, I would worry about, it's when it was just me, I would worry about how I was going to put petrol in the car that week to actually turn up to my clients and visit, because I visit, we do all our training on site, turn up to my client to get to them, to be able to train them. I remember those days. And the anxiety that created was enormous. Now, as your business gets bigger, that doesn't go away. Okay. As your business gets bigger, you just add zeros to that issue. Okay. Instead of worrying about putting petrol in my car, then it became worried about how I'm going to pay my people every week, right? And because as you expand, there's always pain. There's pain. For every expansion, there's pain that you have to go through. And it's just the way it is. That's the way it is. And that's more muscle. It's just like when you start working out. Okay, you decide you're going to get fit and you start working out. The first thing that happens isn't you feel great. The first thing that happens is you're sore. Yeah? You feel pain because you're using muscles that you haven't used for so long to get back in shape again. But eventually, when you keep doing it, you keep turning up and you keep going to the gym, you know, it gets less and less, you get less and less sore, and you start, then there's a tipping point and you start to feel better. You start to feel stronger. Okay? But you've got to keep it up, haven't you? You've got to keep that discipline. Because if you don't keep that discipline going, then you're going to have to go back to the beginning again and go through all the pain to get fit again. Again, I'm speaking from experience. I know that as well, that yo-yo. Okay, so now I'm talking about anxiety, okay? We're talking about anxiety right now, which is not fear. Fear is something completely different. Fear is a caution over a real and present danger. So anxiety is talking about a future that hasn't even happened yet, and you're catastrophizing the future in your mind, right? The worst thing's going to happen. Whereas fear, there is something that is of danger to you right now. So I'll give you an example of this as well. I came home one day from the office, and I used to have two lovely little dogs. I love them so much. Okay, and I would come in and they would always greet me. Well, this day I came in and they weren't greeting me, and I could hear the younger one, Max, was barking at something. Like his bark was really an anxious bark. And when I looked in the hallway, I could see a snake. There was a snake, and it was striking at him. It was a baby snake, but it was a red belly black which is a poisonous snake. I don't know how it got in the house. I still to this day don't know how it got in the house. But anyway, there it was, and it was trying to strike at Max. Max was trying to eliminate the problem, okay, the danger. And my other little dog was on the couch and wasn't worried about it at all and was letting Max do all of the work. So I was so scared. My fear came up because I thought this snake was going to strike Max and would kill him, okay, my precious little dog. So I just went into action immediately. I grabbed a mop and I went down the hallway and I struck that snake with the mop head until I killed it, okay? And I apologised with every strike. It was just, I hate killing anything, right? So anyway, but that was danger in the moment, right then and there, and I had to act. I had no choice. I had to act, okay? So that was coming from fear, and a real thing, a real fear. It could have been a very bad outcome for my little dog, okay? So that's the difference between anxiety and fear. So fear is present time, anxiety is future time. Fear is real, and anxiety is something you're making up. It's not real, it's imagined. You're imagining the worst thing's going to happen, okay? So anxiety is caution over future imagined danger. So the focus in my head, whatever my head's thinking about, creates a feeling in my heart, and the feeling in my heart creates a function in my hand. I love it. I just love it, okay? The focus in my head creates a feeling in my heart, and the feeling in my heart creates an action in my hand. So if the feeling in my heart's anxiety, the function in my hand is paralysis. Can't move, okay? And that can be devastating to us. Anxiety creates powerlessness. It takes our power away, and it makes every obstacle or perceived obstacle is bigger than we are. And it just makes life a lot tougher, a lot harder to get on with it, right? So how can we change this? How can we manage our head so that we don't go into those feelings? Remember I said law of attraction, we create whatever we focus on, we create. Absolutely. And the more you focus in that anxiety state, the faster it happens too, by the way. Negative energy is really powerful energy in the creation of that negative thing. That's what I mean by powerful. In the creation of that negative thing that we're focusing on. Happens quickly. All right, so how can we do that? We turn our attention to faith. Okay? Faith that it's going to work out. Faith that it's going to be okay. Faith that that's not going to happen. Okay? Faith that we're going to create what we want to create. So faith is the belief in the outcome I desire. Faith is the belief in the outcome I desire. All right. Faith creates a feeling in the heart called anticipation. Anticipation is a wonderful feeling. If you remember back to our childhood, or in my childhood anyway, can I speak for me? When I was little, the anticipation about Christmas was fantastic. I couldn't wait for Christmas Day and unwrapping of the presents and being with family and listening to the laughter of my family and having everyone together. All of that was a beautiful anticipation. Like we had a countdown to Christmas Day, right, when I was little. So the anticipation was wonderful, and it's the anticipation of a desirable outcome. And that energizes us to take action and to have and create the desirable future. It's so important. So intent is everything. Our intention, what we focus on, is everything. It creates our reality, it truly does. So the focus in my head creates a feeling in my heart, and the feeling in my heart creates a function in my hand. So if the feeling in my heart's anticipation, then the function in my hand is power. It's movement. No second guessing. Just move into action. So we need to develop a new discipline, and it is a discipline, to discipline our thinking to that of faith, of always expecting the positive, always expecting the best, okay? Because that brings expansion. That makes things happen fast too, that come into our reality, if we're talking about the law of attraction. Some other work that is really great too is Greg Braden. He recognises the heart as another brain. It's really interesting stuff. I've actually attended his conferences in Sydney. He's American, but he's done some wonderful work on that. And at the conference, in the conference room, we actually did some experiments about your heart and the energy that it creates and is capable of doing. And when you're in a room full of people, you can create amazing energy with your heart and intention. So I've seen this work in action with lots of people in the room. We were all hooked up to gadgets that measured our electricity, our collective electricity from our heart. It was amazing. And it truly, it is true. We create everything from that energy, that spark, everything in our life. I totally believe that. Okay, expectation is a human being's superpower. The expectation that everything will go right. I've got another example. I was on IVF to have my babies. I had lots of issues and lots of problems, and I remember on the last attempt, I found out that it didn't work, and a sister-in-law rang me to tell me that she was pregnant. The morning I found out, I wasn't. Okay, I was devastated, absolutely devastated. It was the third IVF try. And our whole lives at that time revolved around trying to have children. So I was really upset. And then I thought, no, I'm not gonna be this person. I'm not gonna be the victim. I am going to fall pregnant. I know if she can do it, I can do it. And the next month, guess what? I was pregnant with my first child, with no IVF attempt. So that is really, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's the heart, you know, having that power, not giving up, that intent, that faith that I would actually fall pregnant and have a child. And it did happen. And my second child, I didn't need any intervention whatsoever at all. Okay? So whatever was the block, it was no longer a block. So this has shown up in my life constantly. I understand this is real, and I understand that we have the power to control it. It's all about our intention and where we focus our attention. Absolutely. So we just need to keep seeking and keep feeling the anticipation and the positive outcomes until we actually find it, until it actually shows up in our life, in our business, and in our lives. We can create a life by design. Absolutely, 100% without any doubt. Okay? So most people stop seeking it and say, oh, there's nothing out there for me. And they stop. They stop. And that's the time when it gets hardest, is the time when you need to put the pedal to the metal, because your success, and this is another thing that's always happened to me, it's always been toughest before the success is just around the corner. It's just around the corner. And if you give up, you've missed out on that. So you just have to develop yourself into the person who can find that, who can create that, who can keep creating that faith, that anticipation, that intention of positive, only positive things will happen to me. You know, good things keep happening to me is a great affirmations. Affirmations work too. Affirmations are brilliant when we've got that doubt creeping in. Go straight to your affirmations and get that doubt out of your head. Okay? Very, very powerful, especially if you speak them out. Even more powerful. I don't say this lightly. I would say this because this has been definitely been my experience over my whole career, actually. Whether I was working for someone or whether I was in my own business, this has always been true. Whatever we focus on, we create. And when you focus together as a group, even more powerful. which is why business plans are so important, which is why mission statements are so important, and that everyone in the organisation is on board and everyone's in the boat rowing the same way. Because collectively, you create positive things in the business, okay? And if you've got a doubting Thomas in your business, they're going to help keep you stuck. That's true. I've seen that as well. It's like a cancer in the business, and I've had to cut it out, and I've done that a couple of times. I had to do that because the people just would not get into this positive, faith-driven, positive intention outcomes. They would just constantly look at the bad stuff and focus on the bad stuff and focus on the difficulties and focus on how hard it was and all of those things. I had to let them go. And it was the best thing I did because it freed up the business to continually go forward. So, okay, so we've now talked about doubt. The second thing I want to talk about is mastery. And money follows mastery. What do I mean by mastery? So all my life I've kept my knowledge growing, and all my life I've applied the knowledge that I've learned. I've never just learned it for the sake of learning it and stored it in the back here somewhere. I've actually used that knowledge in my business or in my career. Doesn't matter, either or. The application of the knowledge is what's most powerful. The purpose of learning is mastery, not knowing. It's mastery. Mastery is the ability to execute effortlessly without the use of constant resources. I love that, okay? A master takes the complicated and makes it look effortlessly easy. If you think about an athlete, you know, how easy do athletes make that, like if it's a tennis match, let's say it's a tennis match. They win on the day, they make it look effortless. They make tennis look effortless, easy, right? We know it's not. We know it takes a lot of practice, a lot of time, a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of turning up, a lot of discipline, right? And they've been practicing all year to get to that final championship. It doesn't just happen on the court then and there, okay? There's and there's people supporting them as well and supporting their vision and supporting their goals to achieve them. So we don't see all of that. We just see this fantastic match that we're enjoying, but we don't see all the hard work and the tears and the injuries that have gone on that previous year. That's what I'm talking about. So they're a master, but they make it look easy. They just make it look so easy, okay? So I can also talk about my trade college. We have apprentices, and in the old days, we used to call them, we had a master's apprentice. Anyone else remember those days? So there would be a master allocated to every apprentice. Today we call them supervisors, but it's the same thing, okay? So there'd be a master allocated to each apprentice. And what would the master do? The master would show them how to do the job, how to do the tasks. Okay, what would the apprentice do? The apprentice would practice and practice and practice and practice and practice until they became proficient. And as they became proficient, they would move through their apprenticeship. It still happens today. This is what I'm involved in. Okay, so as a proficiency, they do the learning and then they practice it, and then they're assessed on that skill 3 times. We assess them actually 3 times over a period of time. So it's not just about them doing it once, it's about them doing it consistently over time. All right, that's mastery. Okay, and then they become the master apprentice, and they have apprentices, and it continues on. So when we talk about mastery, that's what I'm talking about. So the more mastery you create, the more money you earn. If we look at the apprenticeship scenario, when they're an apprentice, they're not earning much at all. They get increments every year as they learn more, but they're not making the money that the master apprentice is making, okay? They don't start making the real dollars until they've finished their training, they've finished their practice, they're doing it consistently, and then they become the master themselves, and then their pay rise goes through the roof. And if you think about plumbers and electricians and all of those sorts of occupations, they make a phenomenal amount of money now. And then they're in the position to create their own business, go into their own business and have their own apprentices that they're in charge of. So that's kind of how it works. And we can see that they can create more money and they can create a business and they can create a wonderful lifestyle, all from mastery. So most entrepreneurs have already mastered their expertise in their field. A lot of them do that. They go to college, they do whatever, they get the licenses that they need to operate their business. You know, they make sure all of that's done. But they forget that they need to understand and master how to run and operate a successful, sustainable, profitable business. They kind of leave that to the ether. They leave that to osmosis. And I see that everywhere. And I honestly think that that's why 95% of small businesses fail in the first 5 years, because they haven't paid any attention to the mastery of how to run a successful business. I truly believe that. The key to master is just to take on one step at a time, to break things down and just step by step gain mastery. Keep practicing, keep applying your knowledge, keep doing it, right? Some lessons can only be learnt while you're doing it. So that's why I love to work with entrepreneurs, and I love to share my knowledge and share my tools of what I've created and what's worked for me. And I love to do that because I can also shorten the time it takes, because you can learn all this on your own. You can master it on your own, as I did. I did get some help along the way eventually. I found some masters myself and followed them and learnt from them and applied their knowledge into my business. But in the beginning I didn't. Probably for the first couple of years I didn't even think about understanding how to run a business. I thought it would just happen, like it just happened that I learnt how to manage a team. But business is a lot more than just managing a team. Business has so many moving parts. Business is very complex, and to have something that can make it less complicated, like a roadmap to follow, just makes it so much, the whole journey so much easier, so much faster, and so much more enjoyable than trying to work it out all on your own, right? So the first thing that you need to learn how to master is your mindset. And I think I explained that from the difference of having anxiety happening or having that anticipation happening, right? That's mindset. That's about how to keep that mindset in a positive frame. So it's the intention, ignoring distractions, anything that you focus on that will move the needle into a positive position is what you should pay attention to. Obtain instruction where you need instruction, or outsource where you need to outsource if it's not your natural talent and strength. I'm a big believer in outsourcing or delegating, okay? And I teach you all about that too. And action is actually the bridge between intention and results. So when you take action and combine that with intention, you'll definitely get results. Then the thing you need to gain mastery, you also need to focus on, the next thing you need to focus on is your skill set. So developing the skill set, whatever that is. And, you know, that's your skill set of your expertise area, but it's also the skill set of, again, how to run a successful business. So that's practicing, gaining precision, becoming productive, and then profit will follow. And it always does. It always does. And then the last thing you do is you master your tool set. So the tools in your industry that give you leverage, the tools in your industry that makes people come to you rather than anybody else, where input creates multiplied output. That's your tool set. So become a master in your craft, your niche, your purpose, and how to run business, okay? Poor people primarily entertain themselves post-college. They're just out for the next fun thing. We all need fun things. I'm not saying you don't, but they focus on that, right? Rich people primarily educate themselves post-college. The education never ends. And they're the ones that become successful. The top 5% and the top 1%. That's what they're focused on. So, which brings me into a lovely segue of the Roadmap to Millions Bootcamp. Okay, so what it will do for you, and when I first started to implement these things that I teach in my program, I took my business just from understanding the profiles and having people in the right positions. I doubled my revenue in 6 months just from doing that one thing. But this program will do a lot more than that. Okay, that's one of the things it will do, but it will do more than that. Okay, so it will increase your revenue and profit guaranteed once you've completed the program. Absolutely it will, because you'll understand value and leverage, you'll understand exactly what you need to do, you'll understand the gaps that you might have in your business, and you'll be able to fill in those gaps. So you will be able to increase it. You'll be able to spot more opportunities because you'll be looking at things through the 4 lenses that I teach. Okay, strategic, communicative, implementational, and logical. By being able to see those things, sometimes for the first time, you will definitely see more opportunities around you. You'll be able to design your network rather than having a network that's, by osmosis. You'll design the right people to have the right people around you for different functions. You'll also get rid of some of your networks, what I call your poverty network. You'll get rid of those people. You won't engage with those people anymore because they help with all the negative stuff. You don't want to be surrounded by those people. You want to be surrounded with positive people who also have faith and anticipation. You want to be around those people where everything is limitless, not limited. Okay, you'll measure your finances. Some of you don't do that. You don't even know what your break-even point is, and if you're making a profit or not. So we'll actually go through how you measure your finances, and I'm not talking about it from a bookkeeping point of view. I'm talking about it from an entrepreneur point of view. It's totally different way of looking at things. You'll know what, who, when, and how to do the next step in your business, because you'll have gone through the 8 stages of business and you'll understand what each stage is. You'll understand how to get to that next step. You'll have a living business plan. Most people do a business plan every year and never look at it again. You need to be able to review it constantly and tweak it as it needs to be tweaked, as things may change as you go along. So you'll learn how to do that. You run your business and create wealth based on who you are. So you will have a thorough, intimate understanding of your natural talents and strengths. You'll have a thorough, intimate understanding of other people's natural talents and strengths. You will be able to, for free, give other people that tool so they can do their profile and you'll know who they are. So a really great way of going into a consultation with someone, so this is for you coaches out there, is to actually do their profile, know exactly who they are, and then you know exactly how to pitch to them. Powerful, powerful tool. The other way you can use the profiling tool as well is when you're actually engaging people, recruiting people, or engaging with a consultant, or you want to make sure that their purpose and their passion is in total alignment with their natural talents and strengths. And how do you do that? You give them a profiling tool. And if their business isn't in total alignment of the product and services they're offering, I will guarantee you're going to struggle with that project. Guarantee it. You need to have someone who's in total alignment with their natural talents and strengths in their business. Okay, so that's a wonderful thing as well. And you'll know who to recruit on your team next. And you might not be ready to recruit yet. You might be at startup phase. But when you go to scale-up phase, you'll be ready to recruit. And I'm going to take you through all the phases, from startup to scale-up to business investor. And what I mean by that is you become an investor in your own business. You don't have to be in your business anymore. You build it so you don't have to be in it, but you still get the revenue from it. Okay? That's another thing that I'll teach you in this program. So the topics that we're going to cover, it's the mindset of the entrepreneur, 3 phases of business, what I just talked about, the importance of alignment to everything, introduction to the profiles, the 5 pillars of success, the ladder of wealth, what does that mean, the entire 8 profiles, not just yours, what that means as an entrepreneur and creating wealth, what your path to creating wealth is as the profile you are. I go through that. That's not in the profile tool. That's in my program. Leveraging the talents on the team, and how do you do that? Designing your network and applying it. Designing your financial freedom and applying it. The 8 stages of business and how to work through them. And then we go through your mission, vision, and values, which is why, the purpose of your business. The strategies, which are the what are you going to do in your business. Your accountabilities, which is who's going to do what in your business. We're going to create a team charter about who's going to do what and when. And we're also going to look at your projects and processes. Okay, implementation of those, and who should do what on your project and when and how. All right, and the KPIs and all the measurements, which is how you run your business, and what you're going to do next when you go into the next cycle, what you'll do next as a result of what's come out of the evaluations in your business, so that you can improve. It's about constant improvement, quality improvement. Okay, so all of those things are covered in this. It's a 12-week program. I've just got to find where I've written that down so I don't miss anything out. It's 12 weeks with me. We do 1 hour a week on Zoom, where I go through the theory. And then we also have a weekly Q&A session, which will go for 30 minutes to an hour, whatever we need in order to get through the questions. And I'll also do a once a month one-on-one with you about your business, so that as you're going through the program, you're going to have different questions as we go through the program. So that one-on-one time is really valuable, because it will all be about your business. And some of you have had half an hour with me will know how valuable that can be. Okay, and then we're going to record all of the sessions, and they'll be sent out to you. And then I'll be creating the course. So this is just for the beta group. Then I'll be creating a course on Kajabi, and you'll get access to that as well. And I will also take on board any feedback that I get along the way, that you'd like to see more of this or more of that, or less of this or less of that. I'll take that on board too, and that will be in the Kajabi program. So you're going to get a wonderful program, and you'll have lifetime access to that. So that's how this is going to be run. It will set you up in your business for the rest of your business, because the rest of the time you're going to be spending practicing and applying and becoming a master at business. You won't need more knowledge, and anything that we go over, you'll be able to go back through as well as things pop up, and you might not be as familiar with something. You'll be able to go back to the Kajabi course, and all the information will be there for you to do it. It'll also have a whole lot of templates for you to do this stuff as well, that are not in any other business programs out there. Okay, this is a totally unique program. I guarantee you won't find anywhere else. All right. But it's the real way you run your business. It's the way the successful entrepreneurs run theirs. They do it naturally and innately. I'm not like them. I had to learn all of this, and then I had to apply all of this, and I have polished it over the years. I've done my practice with it and polished it and all of that. So now it's your turn. You can actually be the apprentice in this thing with me as the master. That's really what we're doing. Okay, an apprentice entrepreneur. That's what this program is for. Well, who this program is for. So if you'd like some more information about it, we've got a brochure that I can send you out. You can have a look at it. The cost I'm going to give you, I'm not playing these silly games where I don't tell you how much it costs. It's going to be $997. And once I've finished the program, it's going to be $1,997, probably for the first year. And then I'll be charging what I charged my retreat people, which was $5,000 a head. And I think at that it's cheap as chips, because you're going to reap that back. Like when I doubled my income, I was sitting on $1 million at that time in 2012. I was sitting on $1 million a year, and I went to $2 million a year in 6 months. I think the program is worth the money. It's worth the investment of $997. So it is starting on the 23rd, I think it is. I've had it written down somewhere. I don't know where I've written that down. I meant to write it down this morning. I think it's the 23rd. I said it on the last video, on video 2. I'll put it in the comments after this has posted. How about that? The date. Put the date in the comments below. So if you want to be part of it, okay, just put boot camp in the comments and I'll make sure you get some information, or my team will give you some information. Okay, I'd love to see you there. It's going to be fun. And the learning will be like the learning we've had over the last 3 days. It's similar to that. You're going to be learning things that you've never looked at in the way that I presented. And I'll bring you other stuff that I've learned too from other people along the. And I've studied with a lot of people over my 20 years. Okay, so I share that too. I put that in the program, the stuff that works, the good stuff. I don't bother with any of the other stuff. So I've gone through it all and sorted out what I share with people and what I don't. It saves you time as well. I'd love to see you there. I'd love you to be part of it, and I hope that you will be. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Have a great week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.